here is a little bonus, free bonus assignment. Oops. There we go. Okay, guys, it's coming up on the end of the year, and it's time to get the work in. And there's a small chance that maybe there was a finance assignment that, well, you just don't want to do. You've been avoiding, you don't understand it, you just don't want to do it. Here's your answer, you can do this instead. Or you've got a probability or something like that. Maybe it didn't go so well. You've got an assignment that it was awful. Okay, so you can do this and it will replace your mark, your lowest mark on either a chunk of homework or one of your assignments. So if you don't want to do that finance booklet because it's long, and I get that, you could do this instead. That being said, the answer key to the finance booklet is A, in the videos, and B, there is a written copy on Brightspace. Okay, this, Google it. All right, it's in the notes a little bit. We've talked about it lots, but Google it if you need to. And I'm going to show you how to do this stuff. The easiest thing to do is use our friend Desmos. And I was working with it earlier in the last video. Whoops. Just going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so here's Desmos. If yours doesn't look like that, then play with the graph settings here. Click there, do grid, get rid of the minor ones, and then down here, gotta move my picture, make these steps as one, and it comes up as very pretty graph paper. All right, so the equation says y equals, this is from your sheet, minus 2x plus 10. Okay, the first thing the question says on your sheet is it going uphill or downhill? Well, you should know by now as you're going this way, this sucker's going downhill. I guess you're going to get some answers here. I could have also got that by just looking here, because this is an exponent of 1, which makes it odd and negative. It's going to go downhill. Well, either one is good. The next question says, is it a steep line or is it a shallow line as compared to y is equal to x? So if you remember, y equals x is a line that goes through the diagonals. Like that. Here, let me put that in there. Y equals x. Okay. See how it hits every single 2 and 2 and 3 and 3, and it goes like that. So then compare that, the steepness of this line with this one. Actually, if I throw a negative in there, maybe it'll be a little easier to see. Okay, so we're going in this direction. You can see this one's a little steeper, so you write the word steeper in the box. And let me just hide that blue one so you don't get confused. And then it says y-intercept, write it as a point. So remember, this is your x-axis, and this is your y-axis. So your y-axis up here. So that's going to be as a point 0 and 10. So bracket 0, comma 10, close the bracket. If it's the y-intercept, the y spot is where the number is. Right, so that's the first part of the first bunch of boxes there. And I like it because it doesn't matter what format your line is in. So even if you have, I'm not going to do one off the graph. Even if it's not starting out as that really pretty y equals stuff, ta-da, it's still, you can graph it and you can answer all the questions. For the second part, number 3, actually, it just asks you about the different types of equations and asks you to analyze them. So for my first one, I don't want to do that one. I'll make up my own. Y equals 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. Isn't that weird, this guy? Okay, so I can do an analysis right from here and figure out that this is going to start here in quadrant 1, 2, quadrant 2, and in quadrant 1, because this is a positive and even. Okay, so it's my M behavior. My x-intercepts, this is my x-axis. Look how beautiful Desmos is. If you go to that point, it tells you exactly the coordinates of that. That is your x-intercept. There happens to be, specifically on this graph, there happens to be 2. So you can just copy them out, put them in your chart. We want the y-intercept. Oh, it's right there. Okay. The domain, well, you should know that. Right, this is one of the questions, so I can tell you. The domain is x is equal to r all the time. For every single question we do in this chapter on polynomials, polynomial functions, and behaviors, all of that, x is an element of real numbers. Now, this one happens to be an even, it's a parabola. It's an even degree. That's the word I was looking for. So it actually has, the range is interesting. The range is not just YER. So I'm going to have to write this. So we've got Y. Now in this case, because this is a smiley face, is going to be greater than or equal to, and then, oh, I'm going to have to close this. I can go to this point right here and look at it, and how far down does it go? Minus 2.1. So it's always going to be that turning point. And there we go. That part, this part with the range, is on your, it's in your booklet. Whoops. On booklet, your next new favorite page is this one. And if you go down to the bottom, it talks about range. It tells you if it's a constant, if it's linear or cubic, it's YER, but it's the quadratic one that's the most interesting. Okay, it was positive, it was smiley face. So I'm okay if you just go Y is greater than, and then whatever the minimum number is, like how low down it goes. And that should, using this chart, Desmos, and the box examples, you should be fine. And I think this page is pretty straightforward because I already have the graphs drawn for you. So it should be pretty cool to go through and do this. Remember, a cubic, okay, the easiest way to do it with your lines. A constant is a horizontal line. Oh, where can I write this? I'm gonna put this here. A constant equation is going to look like that, and that's going to be like y is equal to 6. All right, a linear is going to be like, I don't know, it's going to go like that. It's going to be a straight line, but it's going to go at an angle. Does that make sense? As opposed to a curved line. And I'm going to do my axes. A quadratic is either going to be a frown or a smiley face. And whatever's left over are the cubics. And cubics kind of have two shapes. Either they will kind of go something like that, or sometimes they'll just go like that. So this one's got 2 turning points, this one's got none. And I'll give you one other hint. You know what? Take your highlighter. I like those axes. because they're not always going to be in the middle, depending on where, how I did the cut and paste for Optesmos, because I'm sure that's where I got all these. And then go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've got your quadrants and everything should be simpler. All right, there is your little bonus hints for your handy dandy bonus assignment.